In the last section, we were able to successfully build our image and then start up our container based on it. We saw the message listening on port 8080, but when we actually tried to visit localhost 8080 inside the browser, we got a pretty nasty error message. So let's figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. All right, so here's a diagram of what's happening right now. Our browser is making a request to localhost 8080, which is essentially a reference to your current machine on port 8080. By default, no traffic that is coming into your computer or into your localhost network is routed into the container. So the container essentially has its own isolated set of ports that can receive traffic. But by default, no incoming traffic to your computer is going to be directed into the container. In order to make sure that any request from either your computer or some outside computer will be redirected into the container, we have to set up an explicit port mapping. A port mapping essentially says anytime that someone makes a request to a given port on your local network, take that request and automatically forward it to some port inside the container. So in other words, if anyone makes a request to localhost 8080, take that request, automatically forward it into the container on port 8080, where the node application can then receive it and process the request and eventually respond to it. Now, one thing that I want to make sure is really clear right now from the get-go, this is only talking about incoming requests. Your Docker container can, by default, make requests on its own behalf to the outside world. We've already seen that in action anytime that you've been installing a dependency. When we ran npm install during the Docker build process just a moment ago, npm reaches to the outside world. It reaches out across the internet. And so there's no limitation by default on your container's ability to reach out. It's strictly a limitation on the ability for incoming traffic to get into the container. So in order to set up this mapping, in order to kind of forward this traffic to a specific port inside the container, we're going to make a slight adjustment to the way in which we start the container up, or specifically the docker run command. So this is not a change that we're going to make to the Docker file. We do not set up port forwarding inside the Docker file. The port